suffer is having to watch everyone do what you love while you're sitting on the sidelines. Sprinting at full speed across the sweaty gym floor, making plays, was something that I lived for. For me, watching someone make those plays while I sat on the side hurt me more than the injury itself. I chose to step on the court far too soon because I believed the physical pain was temporary. If I worked hard enough and pushed myself through, I was wrong. The decision to return early didn't push me to move forward. It set me back an entire year. In the winter club season of my freshman year, I had a smaller injury that quickly turned severe. By the end of my speech, listeners will understand more about my ankle injury and the process it took to fully recover. April 10th, 2024 is a night that will always be the turning point in my journey. It was a late Wednesday night at a club volleyball practice for my 15s club team. I was an offensive specialist, which meant I passed and dug hitters and servers. My team was doing a blocking drill, which took my attention immediately. I was a DS, so blocking was something I really never got to do. It was a rare thing for defensive specialists. So I jumped in to block against the hitters on my team. My thoughts were that nothing could happen, right? I was just jumping up and down. That remained until my last blocking move before the drill ended. I pushed up off the floor as hard as I could and fell into my partner's leg. My ankle made a snap and my body hit the ground forcefully. Immediately the room went silent and tears formed rolling down my face. All I could feel was a shooting pain through my ankle. As I clutched my ankle, I immediately knew I wasn't going to be back to practice the next day. In fact, it would probably be a few. So when I entered the car, it was painful to sit, so I laid as my dad drove to the children's emergency room. Throbbing pain was throughout my leg, and it felt almost as if I had a pulse in it. When we arrived, they did all the basic testing, and I was soon took away for x-rays. This was the most painful part of my night. They cut off my sock and knee pad and bent my ankle, which left me sobbing, of course. After sitting in the emergency room for 3 hours, I finally had a diagnosis. I had chips going off my ankle and serious scar tissue damage. The doctor developed a treatment plan for me, and it was pretty simple: PT and some serious rest. I was later fitted for a boot and crutches, so there would be no pressure on my ankle. I was told I would have at least a month recovery time. Obviously, it hurt me, but everybody has unfortunate events happen. 6 weeks later, I had a tournament coming up. I thought I was fine because the time had passed, and I had told myself I was ready to return, but I was wrong. I had done everything right. It was basically a textbook recovery. It hurt me bad to see someone play my position. I had worked for hours on end each week to get better. Deep down, I knew this tournament was a bad idea. I had serious pain when I would walk for too long, but there was no way I was letting my team down, or maybe more myself. As athletes, we're taught to push through, no matter the situation. I honestly took that to heart. Mentally and physically, I knew I was returning too soon, but I really needed this. So I made my decision. I was going to play no matter the pain that I had. The morning of my tournament, I convinced myself that I was okay, and this was crucial to helping me succeed. So I took my boot off and I played. Our first game was Libero. I was diving to get tricky plays and running into bleachers. My adrenaline was so high and my heart was so happy. So I pushed as hard as I could, because the pain is temporary, right? Soon in a timeout, my ankle started locking up when I was trying to walk. It felt almost like sandpaper grinding together. But what was more painful, hurting for a couple hours or letting my team down when they needed me? At that moment, nothing was going to stop me. So I took some pain pills and kept pushing my body past its limit. I made it to the third game before my body started shutting down. Stepping on my foot caused a shooting pain through my foot and up my leg. My adrenaline had pushed me one more game before I realized something was wrong. My body simply couldn't do it. It continued trying to tell me it was breaking down, and eventually I had to make the choice to listen. I woke up the next day and knew right away that I needed to go to the doctor. I wasn't able to put any pressure on my foot and had taken almost every pain pill in the book. At the doctor, my ankle looked like it had double size and took a really bad beating, so I got scheduled for an MRI. My MRI was easy and I had high hopes until I was told that my ligaments were stretched in some form. I immediately realized what I had put my body through and regretted it. My recovery time had now almost tripled. This new recovery process tested me mentally and physically in ways I didn't know existed. My physical therapy was daily, but it was extremely difficult to fix ligaments and strengthen them. My body was trying to build, but it kept breaking down. I was truly physically weak. It was now 6 months past my injury, and I could walk without a boot. I knew that was a step in the right direction. I was disappointed watching everyone do what I live for but me. All because I couldn't have waited a couple more weeks and let my body recover. Secretly, I knew I was not done fighting for what I love. This journey pushed me past my limits because I felt stuck. The months went by, and I had little progress. Each month, I built my endurance only a little bit. It got to a point where I considered that maybe volleyball wasn't worth it, and it would be easier if I just gave up. I talked to family and prayed on it a lot and knew that my story wasn't done. I would work myself mentally and physically to the ground to get back to where I was. My journey wasn't done until I said it was. So I worked hard and gave it everything I had. And little by little, I started gaining strength and the will to play. I fell back in love with volleyball as I returned to doing more difficult things. That determination pushed me to bring myself to the next steps. Simple movements to live playing. This injury tested me in every way possible, and I learned that respecting and preserving your body will always be better than pushing through pain. As you can see, my 12-month journey was nothing but perseverance. It started with a simple chip of a bone that soon got worse when I decided that I was going to be the one to rush back to volleyball. That injury turned into a 12-month process that pushed me to my limits, physically and mentally. An injury I thought would be a semi-quick recovery turned into the hardest experience of my life. As an athlete, it's easy to think that nothing can stop you until you're forced to stop for a while. I've learned that healing takes time, and pushing through pain is rarely strength, and it will only set you backwards. The main thing that I carried from this injury is the importance of taking care of myself and resting when my body is telling me that it needs a break. So remember, even if you're an athlete and honestly live for the game, slowing down for a month is always better than a 12-month process.
Wait, do I stop it?